Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." You are one of those people who are always willing to extend a helping hand to others, which is admirable and not often seen these days. However, it's important to recognize that at certain times, all the goodwill in the world can't change someone's situation, especially when that person doesn't show the will or ability to change. No matter how much you help them, if they don't really want to change, nothing will. Before you invest your time and energy in situations that may not have a solution, keep watching this video to learn how to identify signs that indicate your efforts may be wasted. We're going to highlight 8 types of people who, for various reasons, can be immune to outside help and often need to learn through the difficulties they face. Before moving on to number 1, make sure you're already subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any life-changing knowledge. Number 1. People who live behind the veil of self-deception. The tendency towards self-deception, which is common in some people, conflicts with the Stoic value of sincerity and the search for self-knowledge. It's like hiding dirt under the carpet. Instead of deluding ourselves, the Stoics promote honesty and the sincere confrontation of our weaknesses as a path to improvement and personal growth. The central problem with these people is that they construct their own distorted version of reality. Their perceptions are so altered that they believe the facts are as they see them and not as others report. They don't realize that our brain is not a reliable narrator because it sees the world as we interpret it and not as things really are. In many cases, there is no ill intent behind this behavior. They are simply prisoners of their own tendency to self-deception. Possibly it all started a long time ago, during a childhood or adolescence full of challenges while growing up. Perhaps the point of view of wanting to be accepted by social groups made them think this way. These difficult experiences forced them to create their own reality as an emotional survival mechanism. However, no matter how much you want to help, you will face difficulties, because the barrier they have created over this perception is too great. You will approach them and try to show them that the sky is blue, not green, but they will refuse to accept it, putting forward arguments based on logic that doesn't make sense. Even when you point to the sky so that they can see the color, they will find ways to justify that the reality is different. The only effective way to help them is when they recognize that they have a problem, although this is unlikely to happen without the help of a highly qualified psychological professional. Nowadays, this is very similar to the political debates that are going on around the world. People are always denying and digressing to defend their side, even when their arguments are logically flawed and nonsensical. In the end, they just contradict themselves and believe their message to be right. Number 2. Advantageous people. Altruism is the noblest form of empathy, stemming from our unique ability as human beings to put ourselves in the other person's shoes and understand their feelings. Empathy is one of the ways the Stoics used to see the world with an open mind and without judgment. By seeing the world through the eyes of others, we are able to perceive their pain, anxiety, and fears, and as a result, we feel the need to help them relieve the weight on their shoulders. Unfortunately, there are individuals who exploit this quality for their own benefit. They see people as helpless and play the false friend in order to get close to them and then take advantage of them. How can you spot them? Look at the way they approach life. While most of your friends only turn to you when they really need help, someone who is opportunistic will ask for favors frequently, often when they could do things themselves, just to avoid the work or the hassle. The advantage will be in the way they make you feel at first hand. They'll say something like, "You're such a good friend. Could you help me with this favor?" There's nothing wrong with asking for a favor once in a while when you need help, but this type of person will take full advantage of you even if they could do it. They show no empathy for other people's time and effort. What makes this all the more sad and contradictory is that although you probably don't want to help them, you've already given in on more than one occasion. And even though you promise yourself you won't give in again, the emotional blackmail they use is so great that in the end you give in. They are masters at using victimization to make you feel selfish if you refuse to help, when in fact they are the real selfish ones. You can rescue them from difficult situations time and time again, but they'll never change because they're convinced they're doing the right thing. After all, why make the effort when someone else will kindly do it for them? Our recommendation is that you help yourself by making the decision to walk away from these people without feeling guilty. Remember that you have no obligation to anything but yourself and your commitments. Number 3. People who can't see beyond their own noses. These people tend to focus only on themselves. They believe that the world revolves around them and everything that happens is their fault. Have you ever experienced situations like this? For example, you mention to a friend that the traffic in the city where you both live is getting worse, and he replies that it's not true because he's never had any problems. Or here's another scenario. You share your joy at a new job, but when he speaks, he takes over the conversation, expressing how terrible and bored he feels in his own work. It's as if he sucks all the joy out of you by dumping his sadness on you, letting you down every time he wants to bring you good news. From this point on, her position in the spotlight, which was gradually coming to the fore, is overshadowed by her friend, who takes control of the conversation. Now, the main focus is on how she feels. It's as if your opinion and well-being become irrelevant. Would you be willing to support someone who is unwilling to consider anything other than their own immediate interests? If the answer is yes, do you show enough confidence in yourself to challenge them to abandon their self-centered behavior and appreciate the importance of showing a genuine interest in others? Remember this, if you want to improve someone and they don't, no matter how hard you push them, they won't go up. Now, if you want to go up in life but people close to you pull you down, they can bring you down. The only way not to let this happen is to get away from these people. Number 4. People who don't take responsibility. Individuals who shirk responsibility show a lack of self-analysis and humility, characteristics considered vital by the Stoics for personal and moral development. This type of person is the one who is never guilty of anything. They always tell you that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Instead of pointing the finger at others, it is crucial that they learn to take responsibility for their choices and grow from their mistakes. These people not only act without reflection, they act without considering the impact their actions have on the world around them. If something goes wrong, they will blame some external circumstance, not themselves. They believe that their actions don't affect others, or even worse, they simply don't care because they don't affect them afterwards. The reality is that they are difficult to help because they are never willing to take responsibility for their actions. For them, if something goes wrong because of what they did or didn't do, the blame always falls on others, and they will find a way to avoid any involvement in the events. The phrase, "it's not my fault," is the one you hear most often coming out of their mouths. If you believe that you can guide these people towards a path of improvement through humility, you will unfortunately be investing time in vain. What happens when they fail to achieve their goals? They quickly make excuses and point the finger, blaming others. They always have a justification that isn't their fault. If they fail a test, they blame the teacher or the content. If they crash their car, they blame the rain that got in the way. And if their house is dirty, they blame the work that makes them stay there all day. Do you think it's possible to help someone who never admits their mistakes? Our recommendation is that you give up, because by trying to help them, you run the risk of becoming the scapegoat, and they won't evolve as human beings, since you haven't educated them properly. If you keep trying to help them see the world differently and they still don't want to, don't waste your time. These people just want to complain and, if possible, drag as many people as possible into the same hole. Get out while there's still time. Number 5. People with no vision for the future. How would you feel to see someone you love wasting their talent without being able to do anything about it? This kind of person can be frustrating when you try to show them that life is passing before their eyes and nothing seems to motivate them. You feel that this person can do much more than they demand of themselves. We agree that living in the present moment is fundamental to happiness, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't plan for the future. The present is the action we need to take to reach the future we want. We achieve fulfillment when we use our innate and acquired abilities to progress and improve our lives. The dilemma of short-sighted people is not a lack of talent, but a lack of vision about how to apply it. So it's not by teaching them a craft or skill that you can help them, as these people often master several abilities. The way to help them would be to give them a little push to put this knowledge into practice. Sometimes, all they need to do is act, and nothing more. They already know what they have to do, and the potential that awaits them outside of their beliefs. Unfortunately, the fact that they don't want to do anything for themselves, perhaps motivated by the belief that there will always be a helping hand in difficult times, will make it impossible for you to sow the seeds of progress in them. This kind of attitude doesn't allow them to evolve and get to a better place. The Stoics said that striving for a better life is a sign of virtue. Otherwise, you'll fall prey to even more negative emotions and get into a loop. Anxiety is one of the worst today, leaving millions of people paralyzed by it. If you want to overcome anxiety as the Stoics did, I've left a link in the first comment to help you overcome it, as the Stoics did. Number 6. People who only see the negative side of life. People who persist in seeing only the dark side of life contrast with the Stoic focus on serenity and the ability to face challenges with resilience and gratitude for what we have. Recognizing both the positive and negative aspects of life is essential to keeping a balanced mind. It's natural to face unpleasant situations and express negative emotions such as anger, frustration, and powerlessness. However, it is different when someone focuses exclusively on the negative aspects, neglecting the good things that life offers. This view only makes your life darker and doesn't allow you to appreciate the beauties that the world has to offer. There are people who are masters of this art, and you will soon realize that trying to help them is an endeavor doomed to failure. When someone with this negative mentality vents about their problems, it's natural to want to offer support. However, they will always find a new problem for every solution we propose. What's more, this toxicity emanates from them in a way that infects your subconscious. It's as similar as turning on the television and watching the news. It's just disasters showing there. When you're about to reach the 10th solution, you start to realize that this person doesn't really want to be helped. They just want to complain and draw attention to themselves. It would even be disastrous for them if a fairy godmother appeared and solved all their difficulties with a magic wand, because they would lose the tangle of problems and excuses they like to carry around with them. It gets to a high level, as if these people love to talk about these problems all the time and that their life revolves around it. They never have enough money to pay the bills, their children are impossible, their partner is absent, and their work is frustrating. Do you think you can help someone with this attitude? Do you think someone who complains about everything really wants help? We invite you not to try. If you don't want your energy to run out like water through your hands, let these people go their own way. Time will change them, and they will become less negative and fatalistic. In the meantime, focus your energy on the people who really need your advice and help to progress. Otherwise, by the time you realize it, it will be too late, and you'll be so negative that you'll be just like the person you were trying to help. Number 7. People who believe that they are never the problem. Those who blame others instead of looking at themselves disregard the Stoic principle that we can only influence our responses and attitudes to circumstances, not the circumstances themselves. Responsibility for our reactions is fundamental to our emotional balance and personal growth. This is one of the basic Stoic principles. If we can't control ourselves, our mind will control us and leave us as dazed as possible. How do you imagine helping someone who is completely convinced that their problems with the world are entirely the world's fault and who doesn't recognize internal problems? Those who can't see their own faults and defects. They will never take a single step to improve themselves because they believe they have nothing to improve. Whether through arrogance or innocence, this person has their brain programmed to always blame others. If they don't have many friends, it's because the people around them are unfriendly or elitist. If they can't keep their body in shape, it's because healthy food is too expensive. If they don't pass job interviews, it's because the interviewer sabotaged their interview, and on and on. The best way to help them, if you still feel like it, is to let real life teach them hard lessons. Foolish people will, in time, see who's wrong. Number 8. People who believe that the world owes them something. Those who believe that the world owes them something exhibit a self-centered mentality that is disconnected from reality. These types of people believe they are special just for existing. Stoics emphasize the importance of living in balance with nature and recognizing our interdependence with others rather than seeking unjustified privileges or rewards. According to them, worthiness has to come from merit. These people often attract the attention of naive individuals who genuinely want to help them break out of their fanciful view of the world, with a view to their well-being. However, unfortunately, these people may not see this as an act of kindness, and instead interpret it as a threat, or simply insist on the belief that just because of their attractive appearance, others should serve them. In the end, this makes life difficult for those who want to help, and the other person uses them for support whenever they can. If these people believe that others have an obligation to do more for them than simple gestures of kindness, they also display traits of narcissism and are easily hurt. So if they are hurt by the people who have helped them in the past, they will certainly play an emotional game on the other person. The only way to make them realize that they are as human as any of us is when the people around them stop tolerating their condescending behavior, and when they receive the same unfair and offensive treatment. They finally understand that they need to change their attitude. This doesn't mean that you have to do the work of showing them what to do. Stoic principles guide us to live in balance with nature, to nurture valuable connections, and to be responsible for our actions, thus seeking a full and meaningful life. By incorporating these values into our lives, we can progress towards a virtuous existence, in sync with the world around us. To be able to live in this way, they created a resilient mind so that nothing could shake it. Brothers and sisters, to create a resilient mind like the Stoics, click on the video on the screen and see how to do it right now.